You've created the world's #1 buying intelligence platform for enterprise tech.
Yep.
You have influenced $600 billion worth of spending.
Yep. Studied computer science, went straight into the tech industry. I was never a born entrepreneur.
Does it become even more important when you have an office based in Israel, an office in Europe, and an office in San Francisco? Not everybody's in one location.
Yeah, it's more challenging. I mean, it's always critical. Our mission continues to be to revolutionize enterprise tech buying through intelligence from peers.
There's so much noise out there about AI's taking jobs and AI's replacing humans. Welcome to another episode of Talk with the Scot. I'm here in the PeerSpot offices with CEO and founder Russell.
Thanks for having me. Well,
how are you?
Great.
It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. It's been a while.
It's been a little while, but that's because we've known each other for a number of years, and I came to your old offices. And walking in here, compared, even the old offices were nice, but walking in here, just the vibe and the culture and the atmosphere, it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to dive into how you did that. There's a lot. I mean, obviously doing research before coming to speak with you.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that one can just pull out straight away, and very impressive things. For example, BA Harvard, MBA at MIT.
Well, I'm not so proud of those universities these days.
I wasn't going to touch on it, but when you were there in the 80s and early 90s, I think that's correct. They were obviously very different places. Mm-hmm. So you've got it, you can be proud of it. And then you moved straight into Oracle, I think it was. And we had a couple of positions, but then in 2004, you set up a company called Zatapoint. Share with people, like, what was it? Where did the idea come from? Because then you exited that in 2004, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah, we sold it to EMC. So, from an entrepreneurial perspective, I grew up loving tech, studied computer science, went straight into the tech industry. I was never a born entrepreneur. Some people seem to be born entrepreneurs. They're just flowing with startup ideas all the time. I was never that type, whatever the reason is. And so my first opportunity to move into not just the startup world, but actually be CEO of a startup, I joined a VC fund that had the idea, and they brought me in as the CEO to start it up. So it was a great opportunity for me to get the first taste of starting up my own business. I learned a lot sort of on that dime of what it is to build a company and grow a company. PureSpot, which now I've been running for 14 years, was really my first baby, where from the outset, it's my idea, my concept, my vision, and had been leading it ever since. So it was a great opportunity that I had midpoint of my career to learn some of the skills and make some of the mistakes that one makes leading a company and being a CEO.
So what were some of those mistakes? Because the reason I asked, I sat recently with Liz Cohen, yes, and another person that I've known for a long time, Alon, from Action.com. Mm-hmm. So, and both of them have years and years of experience working with VCs, founders, and both of them have said there's a noticeable difference between working with somebody who's launched a company, either failed or succeeded, and then they're into sort of the second, their second business. So what lessons did you take from them that really helped you, not so much even scaling PureSpot, but just starting?
Yeah. So you always think that when you start a company, everyone talks about, obviously, product market fit, obviously crucial. You don't really have a business unless you're product market fit. You have paying customers. It's all around the product. Obviously, my tech background, I'm very much into the product, very involved, not only in the total, overall vision, but actually in building products. So you're very product oriented. But then when you go actually lead a company, you learn it's really about the people. And that's one of the things I learned is that you can have a great vision and a great product, but if you don't have the right people and you don't lead those people well, you're not going to get the kind of results that you want. So I think the second time around, you call that with PureSpot, it's been been much more people first, right? There's some companies that say we're customer first, product first. There's sort of product first, then there's customer first, which sounds really great on LinkedIn and in commercials. We're customer first.
Yeah.
But really, my philosophy has been about being people first, meaning employee first. Because if you hire the right people and treat them well, then they will treat the customer well. They will do what's right with the customer. They will be passionate about building great products. So lesson number one, the number one lesson I learned from my second time going around here.
It's funny you say that because from very early days, because obviously it was IT Central Station.
Before that was our first name. Yes, terrible name. Renamed the baby.
You renamed. But that's when we first met each other.
Right.
And I've actually, and I'm not just saying this because we're sitting opposite each other, I've actually paid attention to, the map and the direction of the company for a couple of reasons. Number one, because we met a number of years ago. And number two, your VP of product was an intern at my agency when you first moved to Israel.
He was employee number one.
And he was like a great guy. And I always remember his wife is a fantastic bake. She bakes.
She is.
And he used to always bring cookies.
Yeah, we still get those treats from time to time.
I still remember that. Very impressive. So I think for those two main reasons, I always just took an interest. But the question is, so you're now like 15 years or something almost saying on just 2 years. When you set up what is now PureSpot, did you at any point believe that you were, and I'm going to just do a few things, all right. Yeah. Round A raised the $30 million, but you've created the world's #1 buying intelligence platform for enterprise tech.
Yeah.
You have influenced $600 billion worth of spending.
Yeah. Probably more by now, but
okay.
Yes.
When you're sitting all those years ago thinking, I've got this idea, did you honestly think it would grow to what it is with those sorts of numbers?
I had a big vision from day one and still have an even bigger vision than what we've accomplished so far. So in many ways, I think we're just the early stages of our journey. And if I like to say here, we're actually at the top of the first inning in terms of what we're doing in terms of revolutionizing enterprise tech buying. So all those accomplishments, that's not what I think about. I'm very much just like, how do we get to the next level of the company? But did I know that this was the journey that we were going to take? I wouldn't have predicted it exactly. But as an entrepreneur, you're looking, especially in today's market, at 6 months, a year forward. It's really challenging in a very dynamic, really AI-centric world to be planning further in 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
But, I did bootstrap the company for the first 9 years. So got to a very large scale with just $600,000 capital raised. I got to over $10 million revenues at the time. And then I did raise Series A, which is a $30 million Series A from a top tier growth equity fund in San Francisco. Wasn't expecting that, but certainly the things that we were doing, all the good stuff, the good product, great customers, great team, was setting the stage for those things to happen. And then to be opportunistic about when good things fall your way. Because, when you're building a business, there's, the micro, there's the things you can control, and then there's maybe the macro things you can't control. So over our 14-year history, but even just the last 2 years, there's been quite a lot of changes in the overall market. Right, we went from a market where early days, you had to, it was very SaaS centric. And then obviously things grew significantly right after COVID started, huge investments in growth and marketing spend, in valuations. And then that flipped completely. And then obviously also here in the Israel market, turbulence since October 7th has changed things. And the stock market continues to be very volatile, and spend on marketing changes as well. So you need to be agile. So the end game, the overall where we're going as a business, that's mapped out clearly in my head and in our mission statements. But the path we get there will vary.
Yeah. Well, that was something else that Liz made reference to about, as a founder, the ability to pivot and be willing to do that for the long-term success of the company, because the founders don't have that ability. They can hit a brick wall quite quickly.
Yeah, you need to be agile. It's nice to have what's called optionality. There's a flip side of that. Sometimes having too much optionality is also not good. You do have to put stakes in the ground. You have to make your commitments. You have to say no to things. There is also a downside sometimes of having too much optionality, but you want to be agile, and you want to be able to make those decisions that are not just short-term, but also long-term. And it also changes when you have an investor, right? So like I said, the first 9 years we were bootstrapped.
Yeah.
And so what I mean bootstrapped is that we had a few angel investors, but primarily that meant that I had I didn't have any significant investors that had their own needs and interests. And then when you have an investor, then you're part of a team. You have a board, you have a team. And so your decision making is a little bit more team based as a result. And so it's important also to recognize that your decision making may change. Early days of a startup, where you have complete control, you can make every decision. But as you grow, you'll probably have investors. You'll probably give up equity. You'll have a leadership team that you want to have a very important part in the decision-making process. And then the way you make decisions changes than it did in those first few months, first few years of being, let's say, a bootstrapped CEO.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because there's obviously a huge difference between a company of 20, 30, 40 people and one that is maybe 200 in terms of how you delegate, in terms of the responsibilities that you retain or that you pass over to your executive team. What's your approach to that?
Yeah. Well, once you get above, first of all, every time you grow 10x, you have to throw out your playbook and rewrite a new one. Certainly, the company our size, it's about having really good systems, really, really good systems, and good people. Obviously, I talked about that. But in addition to people, you need to have really good systems in place. Whereas in the early days, it really felt like the product, the website was held together with bubble gum and Band-Aids, and we did a lot of manual things, and there was a lot of learning. We still want to optimize for maximal learning.
Yeah.
But once you start to have, I'd say, above 50 people, it's critical to have really good systems, because otherwise you have not everyone. It used to be everyone knew everything, right? We were a very small team. Everyone knew everything about the product, about customers, about how we were doing our marketing and all that. And as you grow, you have more people, and we have a team in the US, we have a team in Europe. So the systems will create that organization. So it's really, really critical to have really good systems in place.
Right. But how do you deal with that on a personal level? Meaning on a day-to-day level, there's probably a lot going on out there you're not aware of, for good and bad. So what was your approach to letting go?
Well, I think there's two ways to look at it. One is my responsibility as the leader, as the CEO, is to set the vision, right? So we have a mission statement, we have a vision for the company. I try to reinforce that as much as possible and talk about it often, and also set KPIs and metrics. So we're a very KPI-centric company, and every department has its set of KPIs. We track them, some monthly, some weekly, some even daily. And then my VPs, my leadership team, or managers who have KPIs, it's really up to them to do what needs to be done to hit those KPIs, to meet those KPIs. So that is the tool of any manager, and so is the tool of the CEO, where you don't have to then tell people how to do their job. You tell people where we're all going, right? Where we are all rowing towards, and then what their part is in that, which is what metrics are expected from them in this process. So that's one aspect. That's how I communicate. As the organization grows, as you said, yes, that's important. And then I think the other directions is setting the culture. The culture is really important. Okay, so the culture, when we were a small company, let's say we were all in one office, then the culture was set. Really, the culture is set by the actions that the CEO takes, the words the CEO uses, the decisions the CEO makes. It's very, my view, culture is very much set by how the CEO walks and talks. And so when we're all in one room, people just observe that. Right? So then when you've got team in different country, then team members in different countries, then you have to be much more purposefulness about your culture. You have to be really find ways to get that culture out. Otherwise, you'll have a cultural disconnect between different offices, and people say, well, this is the way we do things at PeerSpot, and then another group will think, no, we do it a different way at PeerSpot, and there's a different sort of cultural mismatch, and that's something you need to align. So you have to invest a lot more in culture. Finding the culture, articulating the culture, and then finding ways to disseminate that culture with the team. And so what are your ways to do that? Obviously, it's through written communications. It's through the metrics and goals that are set. It's through face-to-face meetings. It's very important, right? So that becomes really important, is that to have that face-to-face time with everyone across the world here at PureSpot. So you have to be much more deliberate about culture as the company grows. Otherwise, you'll lose that cohesive culture, which is critical.
And that's what I was going to add. Yeah. Does it become even more important when you have an office based in Israel, an office in Europe, and an office in San Francisco? Not everybody's in one location.
Yeah, it's more challenging. I mean, it's always critical. It's critical from day one. You want culture, even with your co-founder. That's super important. I don't think it ever becomes more or less a challenge. I think it continues to be something you need to continue to work on. It's just the ways that you disseminate that culture need to change as your team grows and as people are less spending time with you directly.
How do you deal with individuals that have a harder time dying into that culture?
Well, we have a culture credo, and that was something that I worked on in the early days, and that hasn't changed. So, we abide by it. And so we use that culture credo when people come in the door. So when we're recruiting, not only do we look for professional fit, we also look for cultural fits. People are ranked, evaluated based on their cultural fit. If we've made a mistake on the cultural side, then we also include culture as part of the annual and midterm reviews. So our HR team oversees a annual review process, and we have mid-year check-ins, and there are culture-specific questions about that. So if it's culture is just something you talk about and on the wall, but you don't actually take action about it, it's worthless. So it does mean that you have to make key personnel decisions based on culture. So it means hiring people based on culture, it's firing people based on culture, and promoting people based on culture. Those are people who are most aligned with their culture, professionally doing an excellent job. Those are the ones that you want to continue to promote through the organization.
Because I remember you went through a period, I don't know if you still do it. I definitely remember for quite a considerable length of time, once a month or once a quarter, you would post out on LinkedIn about the metrics, by the company's metrics, we're seeing a growth of X%. Right? We've increased our staff force by X amount, but you would also call out people. And Joe Smith has achieved blah, blah, blah. And yes. Was that your way of, again, just taking the culture as the company was developing and growing, just taking the culture to a new level?
Yeah, so that's something, I'm a big believer of calling out people who are top performers, doing a great job, whether that's on LinkedIn, whether it's in our company all hands meeting, whether that's in an email, in a Slack group, face-to-face, handshake, all different ways and methods to call it out and to congratulate people for doing a commendable job. I wouldn't say that is our culture. We're very specific about the culture. Is not just this catchword of doing good things. If a company's culture is just everything that's good, one could say that it's not a very strong type culture. We have 6 very key principles. And there's things that are not in our culture credo that you'll find in other people's culture credo. And so that's how we define culture. That's how I look about culture, is being true to those cultural items.
A lot of what I'm hearing from you is based on going through a process of building like really strong foundations. Mm-hmm. We've obviously come into contact with lots of other companies over the years. Do you think that's maybe something missing from a lot of startups? They're in such a rush to make a success of things that they don't invest the time in building those strong structures.
Could be. I'm very PureSpot centric, so I'm less, looking at what other companies are doing in that regard. But I know that that's worked for us. That's been really key to our success, is the cohesivity of the people. We have great people. I think the culture's been a key element to keep the cohesivity of the team in both good times and bad times. And that's definitely, I think, I attribute to our success and our growth. It's since day one. I think that being very clear about the culture and being cohesive about the culture, and when people don't fit the culture, to part ways with them. I think that is why we have a very good rating on Glassdoor. Employees give us good ratings about their satisfaction working here at PureSpot. I'm proud of what we've accomplished here as a team, and I think it's because of those investments in culture.
Where is we're going to dive in a little bit more about the challenges and some of that, but what is the path for PureSpot? You've also grown a huge amount. That's obviously not been a simple path. There's been a lot of challenges, but where does the next, you made reference to AI and short-term planning, to where would you like the company to be in, 2 years, 5 years from that?
So we have a 5-year plan. Our mission continues to be to revolutionize enterprise tech buying through intelligence from peers. And that's what we believe. We believe that when someone wants to make a decision about software for their business, that we're in the B2B space, when someone wants to make a decision about what software to buy for their business, the most influential source is a peer. Someone like them, another human being who is knowledgeable, who they can rely on, they can trust. And PeerSpot brings those peers together through product reviews, through discussions, through connections, all different ways that we enable people to connect with peers in that very sort of critical part of making a decision about what software to buy. And that's been our beacon, our guiding light, and that's what we're going to continue to work on. Now, AI presents now an opportunity, a huge opportunity, because it's not just content on a page. It's not just product reviews. Be able to provide through AI help that also aligns with our vision for providing intelligence from peers. And so that's our 5-year plan. The vision hasn't changed, but the kind of features that we're working on have changed dramatically the last 12 months. We've become an AI-first organization, and that means not only the product roadmap. If you look at some of the product that we've built and we've released over the last few months, as well as what we're planning to release throughout the coming year, is very AI-centric. But we've also retooled the team so that the team uses AI daily in their jobs. So
across the company?
Yes. Every single employee at PureSpot has an opportunity to use AI. We encourage it. We support them. If they need training, we provide training for them. And so across every org, not just product and R&D, but marketing and sales, finance, HR, delivery, across every part of the organization. What we're helping our team, and this part of their own professional development, is just to be not just conversant with AI, but to be power AI users, if you want to use that term, so they can solve problems better, faster, using AI in their day-to-day jobs.
It's funny that you just mentioned that, because obviously there's so much noise out there about AI is taking jobs and AI is replacing humans. And from what you're saying, you're using AI to make the culture here better, like more productive, as opposed to we're using machines to replace the people.
Correct. That's what I'd like to see, is that every PeerSpot employee uses AI to become 5x, 10x more productive. And it's not just to do the same things faster. It might be doing things differently, being able to change sort of what their day-to-day output is. But we've thankfully remained lean. So one of our keys to growth is to enable our existing team to use more AI so that their impact can be 5x, can be 10x. And that's right, we have seen that. So our revenue per employee, over $200,000 per employee, which is up where it was a couple of years ago. And part of this because of the use of AI and automation. And we want to continue to push that number up. So the way, ideally, we want to do that is by enabling everyone to be AI first, so that the same team, we can do 2, 3, 4 times the amount of revenue. We will be hiring people as well, but be able to make all of those existing and new PeerSpot employees just to be much more productive and do great work, so that ultimately use AI and automation to eliminate or minimize some of the grunt work that, rather than checking a spreadsheet, learn how to use AI to do that. Rather than just writing every single piece of copy on your own, be able to utilize AI to provide some existing content and then to edit on top of that.
Probably one of the biggest challenges the company's had, I'm guessing, is ensuring that the peer-led reviews, the peer-led discussions are genuine and authentic.
Yes.
Because, everybody that's ever used the internet has obviously gone on and used some form of review site before they buy something. And there's a lot of, bot reviews, and a lot of fake stuff out there, even on some of the biggest review sites. So how have you tackled that over the years?
Yeah. So that's something that is really part of the DNA of the company, is providing content that's real, that's authentic. When I wake up in the morning, I'm excited and I'm pumped because I know that the content that we're creating, these reviews that we're generating that we're collecting from real users, is real content. It's not fake reviews. It's not AI generated reviews. It's all real, authentic, human generated reviews, real people helping other people. And for me, that's very fulfilling. And for the people here, for the rest of the team here, I know it's very fulfilling for us to know that the work that we do is authentic and valuable and real. And there have been other review sites out there that have flooded the market with fake reviews and all that. And that's just not us. Yeah, that's not us. Now, it was very encouraging to see 6 months ago, Federal Trade Commission, the US FTC, came out with a ruling that recognized this issue of fake reviews and instituted a fine system. So companies could be fined up to $50,000 per violation for a fake review or gamed review out there. So it was a nice validation for us, because this is something that we've been talking about since we founded the company. It's nice to see that eventually the U.S. authorities, as leadership, came out saying that they're going to crack down on fake reviews. So having real reviews is something that has always been our guiding light. And I think that's why also we've, how we know each other from the SEO world.
Yeah.
So I think that's also just something that's been one of the feathers in our cap in terms of our organic traffic. So we rank really well in terms of organic traffic.
Yep.
And we were never one of those companies that did, sort of black hat techniques and, just link building and some of these other, we just focused on having really good content, authentic, real, good, up-to-date, fresh content from real users. And so that's worked out for us really well. And that's why We continue to rank really well on organic searches. And also now we're seeing is we're ranking really well in AI searches.
Yeah.
So it's ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. When you're putting in those searches, when you want to get information about products, comparing products, B2B software products that PureSpot covers, it will have citations and say, well, according to PureSpot, this is what people are saying about this product. So we've been fortunate that we've been rewarded. We don't have the most reviews in the industry. We don't have the millions of reviews in the industry. We've been really focused on high quality reviews that actually help people. But what we continue to learn is that high quality reviews is what wins for the long game. And that's always been, SEO is always, they say 10 tricks today of the Google algorithm, but you should just get great content out there. And that's your number one best thing to do. And that's always been our guiding light.
Yeah, having been in the game for 23 years, I would 100% agree. If you focus on authentic, high quality, helpful content at the core of your strategy,
well, you're going to. But Google wasn't always rewarding that. There have been times where people were able to game for shit. I mean, again, with the helpful content algorithm and some of the other changes, Google's gotten a little bit better in that regard. But it hasn't always been that way.
It's not always been that way.
So we really, even though we knew that there were some things that people were advising us to do on an SEO in order to jack up our numbers, and we just didn't feel it was the right thing for PureSpot. Didn't feel it's the right thing. And so in the long term, that's worked out for us.
It's funny because even within the last couple of days, I've been reading a bunch of new information, how people are already gaming the AI, ways to do it. And there's no way around it. There are always going to be people that will try and game the system. And on the flip side, there are always people that are thinking, I'm not interested in 6 months from now. I'm thinking 5 years, whatever it is. No, absolutely. But here's the thing. We've been sitting talking, I don't know, for half an hour or so.
Yeah.
And you paint a very rosy picture, okay, of like the culture and scaling and all, the value that you bring. And not for a second am I doubting everything that you're talking about. But there's obviously been a lot of bumps in the roads. Obviously, it's been a lot of things where they've not worked, whether that is hiring somebody and it's been a disaster. You've found some fake reviews. How do you deal with those things?
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, we overhired after raising our funding, and we had to bring the employee size down. Since then, that wasn't a fun exercise to do and very painful, both for us and the departing employees. And sure, we've made plenty of mistakes along the way. So I say that the way I deal with it as a leader is, first of all, to own it, right? So, ultimately, the buck stops here, as Harry Truman said. So it's about, we take ultimate ownership over those mistakes and create a culture when things go wrong for people to feel comfortable sharing that. Because the last thing you want is, as a manager, whether you're a CEO or VP or a manager, the last thing you want is if something goes wrong that an employee, a team member hides it from you.
Yeah.
And so they need to feel comfortable to share that. They need to feel comfortable sharing this. And so there's different ways. One is sharing your own mistakes publicly, and then people see that that's okay to do. Two is to encourage people, turn it into a learning opportunity and always focus on the learning aspect of it. So there's different techniques. So I think that's important, is to be very engaged with it, be authentic, and it's something that's applies, sort of those techniques apply not only in the office, but also at home with kids. We were talking about, we've got kids, I've got kids, and, you also want, my kids make mistakes. We all make mistakes. As parents make mistakes and all that. So it's the same kind of challenges that we have at home too, is our kids are going to make mistakes, and in many ways you want them to make mistakes and learn from them. So how do they feel comfortable admitting them, talking about them, and turning it into a learning experience?
You're probably more patient in the office than you are on that. Is that not the way it goes? Probably, yeah. No, but joking aside, I agree with what you're saying. And it was within the last couple of months, actually, because we have every morning we have a team meeting in the company. And I remember maybe about 6 weeks ago, I just turned to my team and I said, you know what? It's just not happening for me today. I can just tell it was I hadn't slept well. I was exhausted. I just had other things going on in my head. And I thought, instead of sort of just fluffing and winging my way through this meeting in the day, I'm just going to tell them.
Yeah, and then your team members can feel so. What one of them is having a bad day next week, they can feel more comfortable saying that also. Oh well, Paul said that, then I can say that too. Exactly, and that makes it less taboo to say that.
Yeah, because I've also, like, certainly in the last few months, 4 or 5 months, I've been posting a lot on LinkedIn just about some of my managerial experiences and learnings and failings equally as important. And there have been times where people within WADI or people that I've previously worked with, or actually I get messages, like private messages, wow, I never, I've also experienced this. Or people from my team say, I didn't know that, I didn't know that was a thing for you. And I think, that to some extent, people feel, especially at a senior level, I need to put on a game face every single day.
Yeah, so it is good, definitely to share challenges and mistakes. I think you still have to put on a game face every day. Beyond in the arena, still, we need to perform. That's, we're leading a team every day. And so it's a hard balance to meet. Yes, I want to be authentic, I want to be real and share that, but have to be ready to just pick yourself up. You have to just be ready and pick yourself up and get back in there because your team is watching.
No doubt. And here's something. So you're now at the top of the tree, 200 odd people in the company.
Yeah.
It's a successful company. Obviously, I've talked a lot about the importance of culture and how you've built that up. This is a beautiful office. Look out. You ever stand here and just think, what am I, like that sense of I'm out of my depth or I've just lost my focus?
Like on a Foster syndrome. Well, first of all, we're not 200 employees. We're fewer than that, but we may get there sooner rather than later.
All right.
But still, we've accomplished great things.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel imposter syndrome. It doesn't mean I've got all the answers figured out every single day. I'm really excited and energized about what we're doing. I believe in our mission. I believe in our people. So imposter syndrome is not something that I experienced.
Right.
But I am always thinking about, well, okay, how do we grow faster? How do we do more? How do we satisfy our customers more? How do we get this product out that is a challenge? All of those things. And I don't have all the answers in my tongue all the time. And I agonize sometimes over that.
So how do you deal with that? Yeah. So you don't have the answers.
Yeah.
And I think that's a positive statement to make for any CEO, founder, or any worker, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's your process from, I would love to get to here. I'm here. I don't have the answers. What's your process to try to get to that endpoint?
Yeah. Well, we talked about earlier about important having systems. So we have systems for the company and I have my own personal systems. I have my own personal to-do list and there's the challenges or tasks that I look at every single day. Keep me focused. Okay. Every day I'll look at, what my goals are for, certainly for the year. So at the beginning of every calendar year, I set goals for the company. I look at that almost every day.
Will you share that with everybody?
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. Okay. I don't know if they look at it as often as I do.
No.
I look at it almost every day because I want to make sure that the time I'm spending is going to help us get to that, by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's one system that I have in place is to really keep me focused on what our annual goal is. And another system is like I said, our mission statement. And also I have reminders to remind myself every week to continue to talk about our mission statement, both internally and externally, because it's important that everyone at PureSpot and all of our customers also understand what it is we're doing and what's special about the company in the market. So I built systems to remind myself every week to be talking about that. And then on a more sort of personal level, I think when I have those sort of challenging times, whether, stuck on a problem, we've had a bad week, what have you, I always find that health and exercise are critical. So, I try to work out pretty often, try to take care of my health, try to sleep well. And those have been critical in helping me get through challenging times. And then the other piece, besides the systems and sort of personal health and fitness, is just good advisors. So I have a handful of advisors. I have a CEO coach that I meet with at least once every 2 weeks, if not more often as needed, but once every 2 weeks we have a standing meeting. I've got a few other people, board level and outside the board level, who are advisors, who people I can talk to. And so they've been incredible. They don't necessarily give me the answers, but they help me ask the right question. Okay, so having good advisors, focus on your fitness and your health, and then obviously just these systems. I see those are the three pieces that those interpair. So those are the things that are kind of, and again, supportive life is also helpful. Supported home is also really, it's nice to spend it too.
And 5 children. Yes. Because teenage children can be very supportive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that is some money. If you get anything more than that, then that's supportive, right? Where there's really startup scene. I've talked a lot with people about the startup scene and the success of it over the years. It's obviously had challenges certainly over the last couple of years. Do you pay attention to the whole scene? Like, do you think it's heading in a good direction? Or you're focused on
I focus on the startup scene. I'm really very much focused on our business, on our customers, and our product. I do have to understand what's going on just in terms from a funding environment, M&A environment. One of our competitors was recently acquired. One of our competitors, their stock price fell 70%. So I do look sort of outside just our 4 walls, but I've never been more excited. Honestly, 14 years into this, I've never been more excited about the opportunity for PureSpot, the prospects for PureSpot, and that's what I'm living, breathing, eating, and drinking every day right now.
I have to say, it's like this. No, that's you. Sometimes I obviously speak to quite a lot of founders or CEOs. It's not easy, and I say that from a personal experience as well. You can get to a point where you're just like, you're burnt out. I actually get the sense complete opposite from you. Like, you're very energized and totally focused and really excited about the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got to cash flow positive, so now we've been cash flow positive for 3 quarters in a row, and that was really important, because when you're burning cash, then it can be very stressful. And so it was a great accomplishment for us to get there. It wasn't easy, but certainly we not only control our own destiny, but we really know where to invest now. So I'd say that made a big difference. So if you talk to one CEO who's cash flow positive and another CEO who's not, you might get 2 very different responses.
So if we were having this conversation a couple of years ago, the vibe might have been a bit of,
yeah. And I'd say that also, again, AI. So once you get to cash flow positive, control your destiny, you can decide what products you want to work on. And AI, it's an exciting time in the industry. On one hand, we're a content company, we're voice of customer content company, we're a content company, and AI is very disruptive to content companies. On the other hand, what we believe is that even in the AI world, software buyers will always want to hear from peers, from real humans.
Yeah.
So I don't lose sleep thinking that with ChatGPT, no one will want to read product reviews or hear from other peers who have checked out the market. That's something that people will always want to tap into the intelligence of their peers. Having said that, AI now is also a great enabler. I mean, we talked about some of those things, both to make us an AI-first organization, people to do more with less or more with AI. And it's also enabling us. We've been around for a while. So in the .com era, in the late 90s, early 2000s, it really feels very similar to that market when the internet was really changing, disrupting a lot of different markets. AI is doing that again, very different ways, not 100% analogous.
Yeah.
But to be able to be there and then to control your destiny with a great team, great product, great customers, feels really good. Again, we have a lot of work in front of us, but we know what we want to be working on, and We've got recently signed a really exciting partnership with AWS. Yes,
Last week.
correct. So AWS, now we're the sole provider of first-party reviews to AWS Marketplace. So that's incredible. AWS being the largest marketplace for business software, for B2B software. And for us to be the sole provider of reviews, of first-party reviews for that is very exciting. So this is
Real achievement. Like,
yeah,
not just for you on a personal level, for the
company. This, yeah, of course, yeah. It's a joint effort. It's not because we had some one-off negotiation about a contract. It's because we built a reputation as having the best content, authentic content, the best quality leads, and a great service organization, a great customer success organization, so that the face of PureSpot, which is not only me, it's everyone in our sales organization, everyone in our customer success organization that every day is talking to customers and going to industry events and all that. Those are really good people. Yeah. And so we've been building this reputation over time. Brand, right? I mean, that's really, it's the brand that we've been building over time. And it's not something that necessarily changes your click-through rate. You know, it's less micro, it's more macro, right? It's because of the investment in brand and the reputation of the company that you're able to score these sort of outsized wins.
You announced it just a little bit too late to get an invitation to his wedding. Jeff's. You missed out the part.
I did.
I always finish up by asking the same question to everyone.
Okay.
And we're not going to turn it into like dealing with the failures. Okay. But basically, failure is a bruise, not a tattoo. You know, something over the last, it doesn't actually need to be within the last 10, 15 years with PureSpot. And at any point in your career where you just felt, you know, wow, I've taken a soul on there.
Yeah.
You live.
I've made plenty of stuff. We all how long know. I got a lot of bruises. Some have healed and some are still healing. So, I'd say one that is from a year and a half ago is, like I said, we did reduce our team size. We did a RIF. And what I should have done is do it all at once. And instead we had multiple RIFs throughout the year. And in any case, really feel horrible having to part ways with employees, but to do it after having said, okay, we've done it and now we're good, and then to do it again a few months later, I lost credibility. I lost trust, I think, with employees, some trust from employees. Hopefully I've earned it back, but that was something that I felt horrible about. And, I made some bad decisions about how to handle our initial RIF, and tried to learn from that.
Russell, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I noticed on the website you're not currently recruiting, but based on everything that you've said, I'm sure in the near future you will be.
Yeah.
So for anybody, keep watching the space, because I'm sure it's going to keep growing.
Yes, follow us, PureSpot.com. You can connect to me on LinkedIn as well.
Russell, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.